Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. Hope you're doing well. Episode 501. Like the Levi's jeans. No, well, yeah. Anyways, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. We're talking about audience growth versus audience retention. How to create a home for your listeners. Something we don't hear a lot of people talk about. We talk about growth. We talk about getting more listeners for your show. We talk about all these things that people want to talk about to grow. How to get bigger. How to get more people listening to the show. Help me grow, everyone, please. I want to just kind of focus in on the key question for every podcaster around audience growth. And what is more important, audience growth or audience retention? Because I think when I talk to podcasters, they don't have a growth problem, they have a retention problem. Meaning, the same amount of people are coming in as new listeners that are leaving the show for whatever reason. So when you have 50 people coming to your show as new listeners for that new episode and 50 people leaving, your stats kind of look like you're not growing because it kind of cancels each other out. 5 people come to your show as a new listener, 5 people leave. Why are they leaving? That's kind of the idea here. Now imagine if you could keep the people from leaving and continue to add the new people listening. By doing this, your audience is going to grow because people are sticking around longer and they're not leaving for whatever reason. So you might not have a growth problem, really. And that's something that you and I can talk about over Zoom. We can look at your show and look at what's happening and determine if maybe you just have a retention problem. You're really growing really fast. You're doing very well, but there's people leaving, which is canceling out your growth. Maybe it's just a retention problem, and we can fix that. There's many things that we can do to fix that. But knowing if you have a growth problem or a retention problem, you might not be as bad as you think you are once we sit down together and talk about this. So it's not just about growing your show. It's about keeping the people that listen to your show, keeping them longer so they don't leave your show altogether. So I want you to understand this. Growth brings new listeners to your show. That's how we grow, right? People tell people about your show. You advertise your show. You get on as a guest on other podcasts and people hear about you. They fall in love with you. They come to your show. You swap podcast swaps with people and say, hey, I have this show and you have that show. I think we're friends. If you tell people about my show, I'll tell people about your show and we'll swap audiences, right? There's a lot of different ways to grow your show. And before you put a penny down on buying help to grow your show or buying an ad to grow your show, I really want you to think about what your retention rates are for your show. How long is someone sticking with you and with your podcast? Retention keeps your podcast in business, and growth brings people to you. You have to retain the people you grow and the people who come to your show. It's not enough to attract new listeners, which is a lot of what the growth experts are going to do for you, is help you get new people to come. But if you spend $1,000 to get all these people to come to your show and then they leave right out the back door, you just wasted $1,000. The guru made their money. They're happy because they're in business. They got your cash. But you're at the exact same spot you were before you hired the guru because the people that came didn't stay. You have a retention problem. You don't have a growth problem, possibly, for your show. Retention is linked and likened to creating a favorite restaurant or a coffee shop. And it's a place where your audience loves and they never want to leave. Is that what your podcast is? Is it like that place where everybody knows your name? Cheers, everyone. Hey, Norm. Is everybody love you and know you? And does it feel like a home for people to come in and feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel heard, to feel encouraged? Is that your show? Or are people coming in the door and leaving? Is your show more like a drive-through than a nice, cozy, warm experience where you have to make people leave? Come on, closing time. It doesn't matter where you go, but you can't stay here. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff happening here, right? I get it. So what does your show feel like? A drive-through? people just passing by going, not committed to that show? Or do people come and do they stick with you? You're sticky, right? That's where your show needs to be. You might not have a growth problem. You might have a retention problem. And that's something to consider. What we need to do as podcasters is we need to lower the barrier of entry and raise the barrier to exit. We always talk about lowering the barrier to entry, get more people in, get in front of your audience, let people know about you. But we forget this other barrier. That's the barrier to exit the show. We got to make it super difficult to leave. We want you super easy to get in here, but super hard to get out. We want our podcast to be an escape room, and we have no idea how to leave us in an escape room. We don't want to trap people, but we want our content to be so good that nobody wants to leave. So turn your podcast into an escape room. Good luck getting out, right? Once you're in, you're in. And that's what we want for our show, right? We want to make it super easy for people to find our show, but we want to make it super hard to leave by giving great quality content, showing up, giving value, connecting with our audience, being a genuine, great human being, and creating a show that people love. That's going to make your podcast an escape room where people can't escape it from it. They just love it so much because there's so much for them. Regularly producing helpful, audience-focused content that honors listeners' time and their commitment to your show will keep people from leaving. And your growth will make sense because more people are staying as more people arrive. And your show will continue to grow because you're keeping people longer. Beyond listener counts, what is true podcast success? Numbers are just part of the story when we talk about podcasting. Whether your show has 1,000 listeners, what matters is not the size of the audience, but how you're building community and connection. You could have one person listen to your show or 1,000. True success for your podcast comes from serving your core audience, your true believers, not just chasing metrics and numbers. Here's something I want you to think about. Okay, what number of listeners feels like a success to you? Like, what is the number? Like, how do you measure that you're on the right path? What does that mean for you? 10,000 listeners, 100,000 listeners, 5 listeners? What is your success metric? What is your number that you need to hit for your show that you know you're on the right path and this whole thing's a success? What is it? And then my next question is, what happens when you hit that number? What do you do? What do you do when you reach that magical number that you have determined, I am a successful podcaster? When I hit this number of listeners, I know I'm a success. And then what happens when you hit it? Do you quit? Do you hang it up? Or do you create a new number? Do you see how this is just something you're going to be chasing for the rest of your podcasting career and life as a podcaster? Just this number that you're just going to keep moving the finish line. What I'm really focusing on for my show and the shows that I help is to build community and more long-term engagement with the show. Lasting podcast growth results from personal engagement and caring about your listener and treating your show like it's somebody's home. It's a home for your audience. We need to lead by example. Regular releases and a commitment to show up as a podcaster, that's one way. It encourages your audience to be loyal to you as you're loyal to them, creating content on a predictable basis. We need to focus on keeping our listeners excited, engaged, and feeling valued at every touch point throughout our show. I got some practical takeaways for you to consider as we talk about the fact that you probably need to focus more on retention than growth for your show. Here's some takeaways. I have a challenge for you as you listen to the show. Don't just work to grow your podcast. Instead, I want you to be strategic in how you're going to retain and serve your current audience as new people come to your show. Instead of focusing on who's not here, focus on who is here and build them up. Lower your barrier to entry for your podcast, meaning be everywhere, be on every platform possible. Okay? Some people consider TikTok a podcast. Just telling you, you might not, I might not, but your listener does, your viewer does. So if you're not on TikTok, don't say, find me wherever you find podcasts. Because to some people, TikTok, and you on TikTok in 10 seconds is a podcast. I'm just telling you, that's what they think. It's not what I think. It's what they think. So when you say, find me everywhere you find a podcast, understand your audience has a different opinion than you do about what a podcast is. Right or wrong, that's what they think a podcast is. So be careful when you say the words, wherever you, not me, you find a podcast. If you're going to say those words, you better be everywhere. That's just something to think about. Lower the barrier to entry, be where people are, and raise the exit barriers through consistent value, genuine connection, a great podcast that people know and love. Lower the barrier to entry and raise the barrier to exit. Reflect on what success means for you as a takeaway and define it in your own terms, not someone else's terms, not the guru's term that you hired for $2,000. No. Define your success metrics. What does it mean to be a successful podcaster? Reflect on that. It's not just the download numbers. There's more to it. If you're struggling with this and you're like, maybe I do have a retention problem and I don't know how to find out, then reach out to me. I'd love to help you. You can always reach me at howtopodcast.ca. I love when you follow the show and stay with us because there's more great stuff coming here. And again, I'm always available through my website. This calendar link is always there. You don't even have to email me for it. It's right there at howtopodcast.ca. Let's talk about your show. No sales pitch, no tricks, nothing, no bait and switch. That's not what I do. A lot of other people do that. I don't do that. Howtopodcast.ca. If you have a retention problem and maybe you're not sure how to find out, reach out to me. And when you talk about growing your show and you want to figure out what grow means, howtopodcast.ca. I'd love to help you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of the show. Thanks for helping me to build community around this podcast. And just the fact that you're finding value, you're still here at this part of the podcast means is that there's something that you love about the show. I'd love to connect with you and have a conversation anytime. Howtopodcast.ca. You might not have a growth problem. You might have a retention problem. And we can fix that. Howtopodcast.ca. Thanks for being here. So I get asked quite often, usually at the end of a podcast, like right now, Dave, how can we help you? Like, how can we, as a listener, support the show? Can we come rake your leaves? Can we cut the grass? Shovel the snow? Watch your dog? Help you move? What can we do? Clean your dishes? Oh, that'd be interesting. Well, if you can't do that because, you're in Poland, maybe you can help us by supporting us with our Buy Me a Coffee. It's right there on our website. And, it just will help us to, A, stay fueled because, we drink a lot of coffee around here. And it helps the show. So if you want to help us, it's out of the goodness of your heart. I can tell you that listening to the podcast to this point, you've already helped us so much. But I do have people saying, Dave, I'd love to give back something small, even just to the show. Buy Me a Coffee link is on our website at howtopodcast.ca. And you can support the show that way. It would mean a lot to have you on our team supporting what we do here. If you find value in the show, then that's great. Share the show, tell somebody about it. And when somebody says, Dave, I want to start a podcast, who should I check out? Oh, you should go check out the How to Podcast series because of all the great co-hosts and all the things that happen here, the meetups, everything. And I would appreciate that. And then fill our cup once in a while if you can. But again, thank you so much for being here and supporting the How to Podcast series. Take care. Talk soon. Hey, it's Dave. Now, most people are gone. So just you and me. So what I'm going to be doing at the very end of my episodes, going forward, here and there, wherever I can, is answering a question for you that's come in. I get these all the time, and I'd love to help you. So, seasons for your podcast. What's a great way to see what your seasons look like if you've decided to do them? And if you haven't decided to do them, what if you did them by accident? If you go to Good Pods and check out your show, search for your podcast. When you find your podcast, there'll be some options at the time of recording. It says latest, best, seasons, about across the top of the screen. When you click on seasons, if you have seasons, they should show. And they should be a list by season of everything within each season. This show has no seasons. But when I went there to Good Pods, I found season 1, which would be this and all of the other episodes, because I don't do seasons in this podcast. But then I found 2 errors. I saw season 97 and season 516. Why? Because I put the wrong number in the wrong space in my hosting site. When you upload an audio file to the world through your host, you can choose between a regular episode, a trailer episode, or a seasonal episode. And for some reason, Dave put the wrong number in the wrong spot. So episode 97 should have been in episode 97 space, but I put it in season. I put the number there instead. So check out your seasons if you want to check out how your seasons look. Go to Good Pods, search for your podcast. You can do this for free. And then check on latest, best, seasons, and about, and make sure that everything looks right. That's a great thing for you to do. Now, why do I not do seasons? Because I think if you take a break from your audience will take a break from you. Now, if you need to take a break, then take a break. But I would say for the most part, people want more of you, not less. So your choice, do podcasting the way you want to, but this show doesn't have seasons, and now I've gone and corrected through Good Pods. There should be 1 season for this podcast, and Dave will be more careful in the future where he puts his episode numbers. If you have any questions, reach out anytime. So I'm putting this at the very end of the podcast, just for you, just you and me. So nobody else knows that we've talked, so we'll keep this our little secret. Thanks for being here. See you next time on the podcast.